The NFL, National Football League. Today, it's the be-all and end-all of American football, with millions of fans glued to their screens every Sunday, cheering for their teams. But how did this multi-billion-dollar sports empire come to be? To answer that, we need to go back, way back.
It all started in 1920, when football was a lot more chaotic. Picture this. The game was still in its infancy, and leagues were popping up like wildflowers, some big, some small, some barely lasting a season. There was no real structure, and most teams were operating under different sets of rules.
You had the American Professional Football Association, APFA, a league that was struggling to stay afloat, but it needed something bigger, something that could unite all the scattered teams under one banner.
Enter the key moment, September 17, 1920. A meeting was held in Canton, Ohio, at a local automobile dealership. Representatives from 10 teams gathered to discuss how to create a more organized league. Among them was a man named George Halas, who would go on to become one of the most important figures in NFL history. The goal? To form a legitimate, nationwide football league with established rules and standards.
At that meeting, the APFA was officially born, but it wasn't until 1922 that the league would adopt the name we know today, the National Football League, or the NFL. The name change signified their ambition to be a true national organization, and they were ready to step up their game. In those early years, football was rough. The rules were still being hammered out, and it was a physical, brutal game. Players were often paid a fraction of what athletes earn today, sometimes just a few bucks per game, or in some cases, a bonus in the form of free meals or travel expenses.
The league began growing slowly, adding teams from various cities, places like Chicago, New York, and Cleveland. The teams played in stadiums that were far from the colossal cathedrals we know today. In fact, many teams played in high school stadiums or public fields. And as the league grew, so did its competition. Other leagues tried to compete with the NFL, like the American Football League, AFL, and the National Football League's biggest rival at the time, the All-America Football Conference, AFC. But through hard work, smart management, and growing popularity, the NFL began to edge out the competition.
And let's not forget about the most important ingredient of the NFL's success, the players. These men, with their grit and determination, shaped the league into something fans could get excited about. Guys like Red Grange, the Galloping Ghost, who became one of the most famous players of the 1920s, helped bring fans into the stadiums and create the first real stars of the game. But it wasn't all sunshine and touchdowns. The NFL faced plenty of growing pains. In the early days, the league was often overshadowed by college football, which had a massive following. But the NFL's future was looking brighter as time went on, and in 1950, when the NFL and the rival AAFC finally merged, the league would solidify its place as the dominant force in American football. Fast forward to the 1960s, when a man named Pete Rozelle became commissioner. His vision transformed the NFL, turning it into a powerful national brand. With the help of television deals, sponsorships, and the Super Bowl, football became a year-round obsession for fans.
The NFL would continue to evolve, moving from a niche sport to the massive entertainment juggernaut we know today. The creation of the Super Bowl, the rivalry between the AFC and NFC, the stars of today like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Patrick Mahomes, all of these things helped the NFL grow into what it is now, a global brand, and America's most popular sport. So, the next time you're watching a game, remember, it wasn't always this big. It started with just 10 teams in a small room in Canton, Ohio, and grew to become the sport that millions of people can't live without.
The NFL was born from humble beginnings, but today, it's more than a league. It's a culture, and it all began with a simple idea, to bring people together through the love of the game. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the NFL's origins, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. Until next time, keep on kicking.